That's great. That's great. Hi.
EBIT.
When I went to school here, all I wanted to eat, so I got here and it was all you can eat on the planet. I could go back and everything I wanted, I ate it.
Andula from Convention and Exhibition Center. Mostly the Sri Lankan, right? But we have at least one or two.
And the United States is a master of overbuilding something. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Good afternoon. Say it again. Pleasure. Hi. Good afternoon. In your field. Pleasure. Thanks for being here. Hi. And we have met? Yes. We have met. Very cool. That's great. Well, I'm honored. Yes. Pleasure. Hi. Your weekend? Suggest that I could get up here and lead something. Which open where we talk. The second a lecture starts, they start sleeping.
Yeah.
I have a story to tell, and after I backward, what they didn't tell you is that my brother, and over the course of a couple days, one of the things that in the peaceful time. So there are ideas and concepts. What is your basis for how you, in your ability to understand and comply with law? About a bunch of hot air. If you can't take it, concepts at work that make work better. I have a great appreciation for ideas and concepts I'm confused by. Here a little bit. But I think there's a connection to each of us. We're to look a few years back, and it's considered a classic called Case Better. The serious problem, the problem we face, creating the organization that you want. Well, the leader is to say, here's where we're going, and you go build. Not going to happen. One gets solved, and I'm in the introduction, and strangely, as weird as that, matters more than what we're going to be talking about. Next. And then, although there'll be some order to it, and there's people all around squashing responsibility. So what goes on and then innovation. That's the number one reason, painful as it is. For years, I thought philosophy was just a bunch of bull. And then I've got, today, three friends of mine, three colleagues of mine today who are, you can make it better. If I can make it better. And you go about figuring out the skill, getting rid of some of the perspectives that you have. I have a thought. It doesn't go past you real quick as we get, again, I think, a frame. And so we begin to explore balance. And time again, because the agenda says, any thought? Pardon me? In fulfilling,
You should have your own discipline.
please, keep going. Their own discipline, and nobody can make you. Wow. Right from the get-go. And it's this point about, what if I don't have, and by far the best executives in the world are those when they are, in fact, know what's the most important thing. Those who tend to wait to not have a thought. Everyone has it.
Put that thing in work. You need to develop your confidence.
Oh, God, you think you can make yourself better? The reason why work isn't working very well, they don't get it. And some of them, you're the only one in the crosshairs. And how you see yourself, and how you are developing yourself. Automatic. Our brain just shuts. Psychology as well as in the sciences. Homeostasis. Body, yours and mine, regulates. Tell our body how to do that. It just doesn't. Into homeostasis, humans process stuff. And so you gotta take decisions. But even with good, clean, clear executives, see it and begin to think about it. So thank you for systems and ways of thinking that keep us locked in. You know, on Monday morning, you know, over the weekend, you didn't like how Friday, nothing changed. You have an employee that's a problem employee. You know, pardon me? They get something from it. Some of the greatest businesses that they don't exist anymore. And oftentimes it destroyed the fiber of the company. There's a person to bid decisions. How many of you deal with business risk? How many of you have to deal with has their own risk measure? What else? Anything else before we go on? That it's not a, so.
The environment is high competitive.
This is a huge point. So this was part of the wall by getting inside information to get an edge on it. So great, you know, is it a front level line employee? What's their view of ethics? What is 5.8 here out of 10 in terms of is about change. Not any kind of change, it's about useful and effective. I've got a definition of that too. But 7.1 is what you change and dealing with reality have to do with ethics. Sometimes we think that ethics has to do with those things. You don't have to. There are many theories about ethics and how you. Where does it lead you in creating a prescription for social order decisions? What do you think? What do you think?
It will decline.
So it may have an issue of majority or not. Okay.
Anything against them. That's why it is coming. However, we have to do that. Right with them sometimes.
And sometimes the Federalist Papers here talked about the need so that no one majority can. I take this or go together as you think. What are some things?
Position. You mentioned will continue to decline. Yeah, in a decline.
Are to many slices of life. Tyranny, chaos, stealing, not paid a decent wage because a boss wants more. And by the way, as you talk about administrative evil, which I hope we will get to, favor the individual. And so, individual growing your appreciation of other people.
In a way, how you define.
Yes. Organization. That there is possible and you're willing to. So when you are true to yourself, because the last time you sat around conversations in all reaches of your organization and you said, you really throw a curveball, expect it, and you're wrapping up a meeting, and to what extent do you all think that everything we just discussed now and the way what kinds of actions are occurred when the circumstances change? I would conclude that that's a stupid way to think about it. But if we think about it in the simple, yes. See, is how thoughts trigger and bounce off one another? And by the way, ethics is about you. And then ethics is about everybody else in your relationship. And ideas help us. Ethics is always about taught it well. We haven't 9%. And so if ethics, number one, he said, gotta make sure I'm on the right one, I don't want to get one. He said, how I treat other people. Tell me that people, it's about how I get along with other people, and how people are, and how two other parts that fill out the definition of, come on, what do you they want to take a usual ability to not tell the truth. Are highly skilled in the issue. We're embarrassed the practice of truth telling. I had a series of like about 8 or 9 things where I asked you to rate them. And since angst has been tainted as better than what you're saying. So number one, we don't know how to tell. Second, we're somebody who's good at pulling pieces reaches immoral behavior. act on one's ethical conclusions, the ability to confront. If you've not looked into any potential ethical breach, no audit, no. In other words, when you talk, oh, here we go again. When somebody wants to talk about behavior for a discussion about ethics, anybody, how come you didn't speak up last year? What happened? The list of things is one of the slides. And again, being the practitioner side, there's great literature out there. But an organization, I work with organizations to create a checklist. Is there an ethics code? Many of you, nevertheless, they're good. In 2002, if you're in the middle of that. So always promoting new laws, new ideas. Close to 70% were special. We don't have time for that. We're working to investigate something. Or is it just call somebody and say, hey, I heard you did that. Do you have the skill to really do an investigation with the time thing? What is ethics management? Employees feeling emotionally harassed by her male boss that she has the somebody and report that in you know how those guys tell on an executive and have them, part of it just to be educational, stir it up. And I understand your part could be wait till there's a problem, that kind of plan. Selection, training, discussions, that for the next 6 months to thinking about, we're going to create a path, which I think is the greatest part of life. Kind of going, yeah, okay, I'll do it. You know, there's look like it's a little bit uncertain, kind of nebulous. You don't need to hire. You think about all systems working, person and the business, and that both are true. It may be moral, but it's unethical to do it. But at work, it's unethical. And then organizational integrity. A couple of you had mentioned tomorrow morning about administrative evil. We're going to find it. You know, it's worth a couple of minutes. Let's keep going here. Some of those, that's fine too. And I want you to, direct your comments towards each other, or this was useful to me, or we heard me in it.
Things you gave us is not to memorize, to thing with the religious belief.
An insight. Honor. And think about how you're filling it in. Great metaphor. Thank you. Well, thank you all. Have a great. Now, what are you going to do? Where?